Welcome back, everyone, to the Tojo Dojo. Should we do that one over? To leave it in?
Leave it in.
Leave it in. Fuck it. Welcome back to the Tojo Dojo. We're here for another episode of Pig's Ear in Review. Both of us have been up late for the last few days. You for a more adult reason than me.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to wake up here.
That's not sex, by the way.
Yes. No. All right, we're already going off the rails here. You've been working, and I've been going to the nerdiest conventions for the last couple days for very different reasons.
Someone's got to pick up the slack.
Yeah, someone's got to be the adult here. But today we're going to be talking about the rest of Like a Dragon Ishin. So we already talked about it before, kind of high level while we were still playing it. But now is more of a spoiler cast type of episode, and then just general thoughts kind of about it as well. So yeah, let's just kick it right off, I guess. So yeah, we finished it, and I don't know. For me, I think I basically mainlined the story, and that's about it. Yeah. Yeah. So like, I think, and I know we've talked about this before a little bit. I don't know. I can't remember how much on camera versus off, but like the formula is kind of the same over and over and over again.
Yeah, I've been getting burned out on Yakuza for a while. The first time I ever really felt it was Yakuza. I think we've both played every game as they come out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first time I ever really remember being like, you know what, this feeling a bit of a chore was Yakuza 5.
Mm-hmm.
And Yakuza 0 was, I don't remember being as burned out on. Like, I think the fact they were set in the 80s and a bit...
It's a nice refresh.
Yeah, it felt enough. But then, like, Yakuza 6 again, I was like, okay, we're back to... Also, it's like the same characters being, like, brought back constantly for, like, the thinnest reasons ever once they retire.
Yeah, that's why honestly with the last one, the 7 with Ichi, like that was in itself a nice refresh, not just in terms of the gameplay style, but it was new setting, new characters. I mean, you had tie-ins with the old ones, of course, towards the end. So that was nice, but yeah, it's just like, and I think what we talked about in our last video, what kind of like sticks out even more is that that Ishin remake is made in Unreal Engine, so it's not the Dragon engine, so it has kind of those old quirks to the game still, where like it's a little not slow per se, but like a little segmented. You know what I mean?
If you're watching this video and you've not played it and you're thinking about playing it, because we've not spoiled anything yet, I would say if you aren't enjoying when you're playing the series, like. You hear a lot of people say, like, once they get to Yakuza 3, because that's technically, like, the oldest game now. But it's a bit clunky to play and feels a bit older than the other games, and some people struggle with that.
Yeah.
What I find strange is that they remade this game and didn't add some of the newer features. This does feel a bit older and a little bit clunkier.
Yeah.
Even like when you're fighting and stuff, like I don't know if it's just because of the way the fighting style with the sword and stuff like that, but it takes that extra second if you like turn to like line up with the person to block and stuff like that.
Yeah, like it's not even like lag per se, but it's just like the engine itself is like not that nice optimized newer engine.
It certainly feels like a PS3 game. That has been remarked, which is weird because they've been touting it as a remake essentially.
Yeah,
and I don't know why you just wouldn't add some of the newer features in since you're remaking it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, neither of us are game developers, so who knows if maybe it was easier to take that original code, so to speak, and do whatever they did versus like a true like remake. But yeah, it's not like it's bad per se. It's just it is a little outdated. You can feel the aspects that are a little outdated, I guess. So
yeah, and even when they came out, Yakuza games weren't the most modern feeling games in the world either.
Oh, sure.
To get a game out every year, you could tell they were cutting corners here and there to get it out the door. And that's it. It sounds like a massive insult to it. I still enjoyed it and everything. Don't get me wrong. It's just if they were remaking it, like they claim they did remake it, those are one of those aspects I sort of wish they had worked on a little more, rather than be like, oh yeah, let's add in like Yakuza 7 characters and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess now, so as far as like the story itself goes, I mean, it was fine. I mean, basically, it's like I think we mentioned it last time. You get into another sticky situation where someone thinks you killed someone.
It's very much, you know how like Yakuza 7 with Ichiban, like it's the exact same beginning as the first ever Yakuza.
Pretty much.
This is pretty close to it as well.
Right. Like, why does this keep happening? Like, why is this the impetus for every Yakuza story?
Yeah. It's like, you know, you're involved in some kind of mystery where you don't really know what's going on, and slowly you unravel it, and there's twists and turns. Same as any Yakuza game.
And from my understanding, I mean, I'm sure they took plenty of liberties, but the kind of the core of this story is apparently from history. But like I said, I'm sure they did
I don't know the history of this guy at all. I'm going to be honest up front. Like, I'm just looking at this game, not like how it was adapted and what was true.
Right. But I there are some aspects that I'm somewhat familiar, like the fact that Kyoto used to be the capital of Japan, and then they moved it to Tokyo. And this story essentially that's a big part of it, where like they're trying to. I mean, the story more or less is like the government is kind of controlling people still, and they want to take that back, but I guess in the midst of that, move the capital to Tokyo so this new group can kind of rule essentially. But then the person who was going to do that got killed, and then your like pseudo brother gets attacked. But then like I guess the twist later on is that, okay, this is the part where I think I got lost. Did he get someone to attack himself to make it look like it was someone else?
Essentially it was like he arranged for the murder of their father.
Right.
But this is what I call the Harry Potter problem. Harry Potter seems like a very fun movie, but when you actually start thinking about the practicality of that world, none of it makes sense.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And a lot of it was added on as it went on later, because they were like, "Oh, this would be a cool idea," but they don't think about how it impacts everything that came before.
Yeah.
And that's what. Yeah, some of the stuff in this is very twisty for twisty's sake.
Yeah, and it like kept happening, and especially I think at the end, right, the last chapter or two, it was like twist, and I'm like, what the fuck's happening?
Well, the last fight, right? I don't generally like using like healing items and stuff like that because I'm like an old school RPG person who just hoards my potions.
Yeah.
But I was like, right, this is the last fight. Don't mind using that. Blah blah blah. All right.
Right.
Get through it. Get through the last fight, right? And then the last cutscene, literally, someone else appears and it's like twirling his moustache, going, "Actually, I'm the bad guy." And I'm like sitting there going, "Fuck! I got to fight this guy now, and I have no items." And shit,
you blew
it. In that same cutscene, they deal with him within like 2 minutes. And I'm like, what was the point of even bringing that guy in?
Okay, here's okay, really quick, and this isn't unique to this game, but the Yakuza games in general. I gotta be honest, what's getting a little aggravating... Welcome to the Tojo Dojo, we love Yakuza here. So subscribe for more, please. It's that whole thing of two characters find each other, and they go, I'm gonna fight you to the death, and then once you beat them... They go, you know what? Let's talk it out.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on.
Actually, you wasn't the bad guy.
Right. Or, I can see your point now. Never mind the fact that you literally almost just ended my life. No, we're cool now.
That's what you should always do. If you disagree with someone, you should punch them hard in the head until they agree with you.
Fight to the death immediately. So that, I have to say, they keep... There has to be a better way.
I wouldn't mind that if they just did something a little bit different every so often. I've always said to you as well, it's like, you don't need a final boss fight in game.
Yeah, sure.
Like, it is okay if you walk up to the building, the scene plays, and it ends. Right? As long as it makes sense, given the context of the story that came before, etc.
Yeah, of course.
Like, this kind of made sense. You're, like, storming a castle, essentially.
Yeah.
But, like, when you storm the castle, you start with 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
And like one of them's like, "You go ahead, I'll stay back." And then there's 3 of you. I'm like, "Well, that's gonna happen 2 more times."
Yep. Yep.
And it did.
Yep.
They
Yeah,
go,
the final chapter was what, like 4 fights, right?
well, no, because before you leave as well, the people you leave with were like, "We should practice fighting. Fight
Oh
us."
fuck, that's right. Yeah, okay. I was losing my mind because I thought like, oh, this is just a quick optional thing of like one last thing you can do before like, it's that point of no return. But then I'm like, oh no, I have to do it. And that was like, that's annoying. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. And honestly, that last chapter kind of dragged a bit, but I did feel that the whole game as a whole was a lot shorter than most Yakuza games. I don't know how true that is,
Hmm.
but I clocked 18 hours.
I think I was like 16, something like that, maybe.
But that was it. I was like 18 hours. I was like, normally Yakuza games are a little bit longer, and that included where I had like paused it and walked away for an hour a couple of times as well.
Okay, so yeah, that's in line with roughly
Yeah,
my playtime then. Hmm.
yeah, and I don't know. I didn't want it to be longer. I just was a bit surprised. Like, I don't feel like a lot happened in the game.
Yeah, especially when, as we talked about last time, you're literally going back and forth between the same 3 locations over and over and over
Yeah,
again. And
yeah.
granted, okay, maybe it's on us. We didn't realize you could take the little quick travel thing, but that would have just
Well,
made it
I
even
started
quicker.
doing that, yeah. But like you're in the hotel, and he goes, "Right, I should go to the barracks." And you go all the way to the barracks, which is like literally the other corner of the map. It's like Australia or Canada, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to the barracks, and like a little scene plays, and he goes, "Well, guess I should go back to the
Yeah,
hotel
right.
and call it a night."
Like, all
And he
right.
goes to the hotel, a little scene plays, and he goes, "All right, let's go back to the barracks."
Yeah, exactly. And I know obviously there are side quests. I did maybe 1 or 2 or if, as you encounter them, but
I
like
think I did 8 in total. It said, yeah, which isn't a
yeah.
lot, but
Yeah, I know there's plenty more, but I just like even if it wasn't for the fact that there's a bunch of other games out right now that I'm wanting to play or about to play, like and this was the only thing out, I still don't think I could have been bothered to do many of them.
I think the issue with Yakuza side quests now is that when the Yakuza games came out, you had your side quest, which was like, "Hey, like I got mugged. Go beat up that guy, right?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Yeah, okay, let's go beat him up. Whatever.
Hmm.
That's side quest done." And then slowly over time, it got weirder and weirder, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Which it didn't start out like it's like what's the show with Urkel?
Oh, Family Matters.
Yeah, you know how
Yeah.
like once they introduced him, like it got wacky.
It just went nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, like so that's it. Is it started quite serious? It would be like help this dog or help this homeless person, and then by like Yakuza 3, it was like some guy going like, "Please help me deliver pizzas."
Yeah, or please help me change my adult diaper with a bunch of
Yeah,
other people crying. And it's like, okay, to be fair, I love stupid,
yeah,
weird
I
shit like
like that.
that. But like, once again, I think it's just it's just series burnout at this point of like, I
But
can't, I don't
but
know.
what I was going to get at was that
Oh, yeah, yeah.
because it's ramped up, it's now it was funny because it was wacky and you weren't
Yeah.
expecting it. But now it's become such a meme about Yakuza side quests.
Hmm.
I think in Yakuza Like a Dragon, like I was helping a guy beat up a monkey with a forklift or something like that, right? Which is funny, right? It's
It
funny,
is. It is.
right?
Yeah.
But nothing shocks you anymore to the point now where it doesn't seem like you want to go out of your way to do it because you're so
Hmm.
used to how wacky it is. The reason it was funny was because you weren't expecting it at first.
Right. Hmm.
Now you just like, oh yeah, the side quests are going to be wacky and silly, whatever.
Yeah, and once again, maybe there are people. We could just be in the minority here. Maybe I'm sure there's plenty of people who are loving these side quests and love doing it, and that's totally fine. I think for me personally, just in general with these games, it's series burnout, and I am enjoying them. Like you're saying, it's not like I'm hating this game. I do recommend people still play it for the most part, but it's I don't know what's gonna fix it other than just don't release so many.
Yeah, I
Almost.
am still excited for Like a Dragon 2, or Yakuza 8, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Um, well, technically Like a Dragon 8 now.
Yeah.
But I think the reason I enjoyed that game, the first one, so much was because of the changing combat style,
Sure.
which I know for some people is a bit controversial. But as you
Hmm.
said, new characters, new city, new style. That really made the game feel different and fresh.
You have
And I
to
was doing the side
reinvigorate it.
quests.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing it because it was like, yeah, I'm enjoying this group of characters. And I tell you what, I really enjoyed, and in that game that this one's missing is that you're a group of characters. You're a gang going around. They're talking to
Yeah.
each other in the street. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
you didn't realize it at the time, but the Yakuza games, like Kiryu's on his own.
Yeah.
And the best part about Yakuza is generally the other characters. Kiryu's very much a blank slate.
Right.
Doesn't say a lot. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
do a lot. And that's it. It's like, yet again, I'm like walking through the town, and you just hear occasionally people be like, "Oh, the Emperor! I wonder how he is." Like just as you're running past and stuff.
Yeah. Which, I mean, to be fair, this is a remake of an old game, so like I get it, but
Yeah.
but even like, well, I know there's another mainline game coming, like you're saying, but then there's also that spin-off coming later this year with Kiryu again, which I'm assuming that's going to be just like the old format again. I mean, I don't know, but
Yeah, they've said that's going to be a brawler.
yeah. So, yeah, as far as like infusing life, I mean, I'm going to talk about this on the next episode, but like I'm playing Bayonetta Origins right now, and that, like, you know, there's 3 Bayonetta games. They're all essentially the same style of game, but then this prequel game is a completely different style of game, but it's still Bayonetta, and it's like it's a burst of new energy into this franchise, and it's awesome. It's a really, really good game. But that's kind of what I want to an extent for this series. I mean, like you're saying, the last Yakuza mainline did that. I hope with the sequel to that, they continue to an extent. I mean, they don't have to like reinvent it every single time, but you know, keep
FPS.
pushing it. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, with this one for Ishin, I don't know. It's hard because once again, it is a remake of an old game, but yet,
So
what do
sticking
you
to
do?
this game, and I think you will agree with me here, kind of based on what you said to me just in private before,
Mm-hmm.
is I think a big mistake was casting the Yakuza characters as the characters in this game,
Mm-hmm.
because when you like go to the barracks for the first time, and it's like all the old bosses essentially from Yakuza, right, are
Yeah.
part of this gang, and they just list all their names off, and I'm like, I'm not going to remember any of them.
Right.
Throwing 8 names at me,
Yeah.
and all of them are Japanese, which I struggle with anyway because I'm an idiot, right?
It's a lot. It's a lot of names,
But
especially new
that's
ones.
it. They'll be like, oh, go see this person, and I'm like, who? And then you turn
Yeah.
out, and you're like, oh, it's Majima.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, right. Like I never learn any of their names because I'm just like,
Right.
oh, okay, Majima. What's the name of his brother in the Yakuza games?
Is it Saito or
I can't. Remember.
Yeah. Jeff.
Yeah. But, Jeff. That guy who looks like Dave Bautista.
There you go.
There you go. But yeah, that's it. You're like, oh yeah, no, it's this guy from that game or whatever. You're not like, oh yeah, this is their old school Ishin name or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So
I
okay,
have no idea.
So really quick though, hypothetical here: would you have played this game if this was not tied to Yakuza?
Yes, because if they had said this was an RGG studio game,
Okay.
even if it had the same mechanics,
Yeah.
set in ancient Japan, and we went back and looked at paintings of the people and like made them look like that or whatever, right? Yeah, I would honestly. That probably would have made me more excited for it because one, it's not tied to anything; it's original, it's its own unique thing, and I would have actually also, I feel like, made more of an effort to remember who was named.
Yeah. They use it almost as a crutch a little bit of like, oh, you're gonna like it because there's these characters, but it's kind of not really them. Like, yeah.
Well, I was sitting there, and it was like that scene where you go in and it's all the bosses from all the old Yakuza games,
Mm-hmm.
and I literally was like, this feels like one of the Muppet movies. When they like cast like it's like an old school story, like a Christmas Carol or Treasure Island, and they cast all the Muppets in those roles. And
that's so accurate.
Yeah, I was like, that's what this feels like. You might as well have Kermit the Frog there.
I mean, like, I guess the idea in itself, I'm okay with, but I don't know, because I'm trying to think like, okay, if the Yakuza characters weren't there, would I have played this? I don't know if I would have, to be honest. And it's not a knock on the game, but
You
like,
wouldn't have played a Japanese samurai game by RGB Studio.
I don't know. It would have to be compelling, I guess. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I'm on the
I
fence.
think you like Ghost of Tsushima and stuff, didn't you?
I definitely had a great time playing it, but I don't know if I gotta be honest, samurai stuff, like as much of a neckbeard anime weeb as I am, like samurai stuff isn't like the top of the list for me. I don't know what it
Okay.
is. So I do, yeah. Once again, I like Ghost of Tsushima. I liked this game, but it's not. I'm not going to remember jack shit about either of those games in another probably year, if I'm just going to be
No,
honest.
yeah. Ghost of Tsushima was. I don't remember much. Like I think the issue as well, where we play so many games,
That's yeah,
is
that's
that was
fair.
like 40 games ago for me at this point, and
Right.
it's only like 2 years ago that I played that.
Yeah,
That's
same.
what's insane. Like
Yeah.
and as you said with this game, like you were like, oh, I don't know how much I can really talk about this. I'm already forgetting it.
Yeah. So
It's not. It weren't that memorable because honestly, I don't think a lot happens.
yeah, the story isn't super complicated. I mean, maybe it's a little bit just because of us forgetting the names and all that, but like,
I
yeah,
think the names is the biggest issue, honestly, and it's not that Japanese names are hard. It honestly is that you're like that's Nishiki, but no one calls him Nishiki in the story.
right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but like, I definitely love this studio still. I think they make
Hmm.
great games. I just wish they would have. I don't know if this is like self imposed or if Sega is like telling them like you better make more Yakuza games, but like I
Well, it's
wish
one of
they
their
would.
biggest things now. Yeah.
Yeah, like I really wish they would branch out because other than that, I mean, they did like what the remake or sorry remaster, I guess, of like Super Monkey Ball, which I mean I love. Don't get me wrong, but I guess the last other thing I can think of, which I actually haven't played, is the Fist of the North Star game. I have it, I just haven't played it yet, but
Hmm.
maybe I'll play that. So I don't know. I just wish they would do something different.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I kind of and they did that like sort of direct style video recently where they were like, oh, we've got like a Dragon 8 coming out and the man who erased his name and this
Yeah.
other thing, and I was like, it's a lot.
Getting exhausted.
I would have just been more happy if they went, you know what, in either 2023, 2024, we're going to do the next Ichiban game.
Yeah.
And then 2 to 3 years after that, we're going to do something new. And then 2 to 3 years after that, we'll do like a Dragon 3 or Ichiban 3 or whatever.
Yeah, let it breathe.
Because game development's getting longer now as well anyway. Like that's just a reality of life. Like
Yeah, exactly.
when did Like a Dragon come out?
I think
2020, 2021?
2021 roughly.
Well,
Yeah, it's been a
it's
couple
like two
years.
to 3 years ago at this point as
Yeah.
well. And not being funny, the olden PS3 days, we would have had 2 more Yakuza games by now. I guess we had
Uh-huh.
Lost Judgment.
Well, yeah, actually, I literally already forgot. So the Judgment Games was like the other bigger IP, which, to be fair, was a nice departure, but it's kind of like
Still feels the same.
yeah, it's like a repackaged Yakuza game, and it was still different enough where I had fun with it, but like it's like 80% is like an identical game essentially. So yeah, it would be nice to get something different.
I mean, we're at 25 minutes. I feel like we've beaten the same point a bit. So I just want to
Yeah,
go to some of the side stuff here.
yeah, go
Because
for
you
it.
said you kind of mainlined it, and I did the same as well. But some of this side stuff just felt so pointless to me.
Really?
The whole card system thing.
Oh yeah, I
Now,
did that one. Well, sorry, I did the trooper thing once, but the cards,
yeah,
you're meaning like the power ups and stuff, right?
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
They were like, "Oh, you can do this, you can do that," and when a tutorial goes on for 10 minutes, you lose me
Okay,
for a side activity that I
right.
didn't want to take part in the first place, but you're forcing me as part of the main story, right? I had no interest because it just sounded so boring. The
Yeah,
fact that you have to force me, sit me down, and give me a PowerPoint presentation
yeah,
on how, and I was like, this is not a part of the game I want to interact with at all.
yeah.
And even with the blacksmithing.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, "Oh, you can do this, you can do that. Oh, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "There's too much here. I don't want to do all this. It seems too much."
Yeah, there's a lot of, and I couldn't find like half the materials either. Like I even tried doing it for a little bit, and I'm like, I can't be bothered to look for half this shit.
No. And every time I upgraded my sword, just through like you get new swords, guns, and whatever, I never noticed any difference.
Yeah,
It
I
was
didn't
like,
either.
oh, you now got 200 better attack power. I was like, okay, and the people's health bars seem to still go down the same either way, whatever.
Yeah, pretty
I was
much.
like, okay, it seems like I'm sure if you really dedicate your time to it, it shows some kind of difference, but I really did not
Did
care.
you get the trooper card? I'm assuming I would assume it's the one of the basic ones, but it's one where like a tiger can attack people. Did you get that
I
one?
didn't know.
Oh no, okay, maybe I. How the fuck did I get it? I don't know. There's one where you like literally a tiger just comes out and starts attacking people, but
See, that
like
sounds funny.
no, it is. But I will say the animation lasts way too long. It literally stops the fight for like 10 seconds, and I'm like, all right, they could have cut that down a little
That's
bit.
why I
So
don't like doing heat actions.
yeah, I don't think I did a lot of the time either. But yeah, it was a little convoluted with like upgrading them too.
Yeah.
And okay, look, do you think we just have Stockholm syndrome with RGG Studio? We just keep buying their games and we don't
No,
actually want to play
I still enjoy the core of the game that's there. But
Yeah, I
the
do too.
idea, I think they read online once that the great thing about Yakuza is like each game you can play for 100 hours, and they were like, we got to stretch every game then.
Yeah, exactly.
Which isn't the case. Like,
Yeah.
I get the whole side stories part. That's fine. Leave that in. Everyone likes those for the most part, right? They're fun little quirky things.
Yeah.
I don't need to upgrade my cards 50 million times. I don't need to go hunt for 50,000 materials to upgrade my sword so I get 2% better damage.
Right.
And that was annoying because there was quite a few sort of side things during the main story. They're like, oh, let us now tell you about this. And I'm like, don't care. I just get me back into the story. This is just really annoying now.
Yeah, you know what I found myself doing actually? I kind of did it with Like a Dragon, the last one, and then I essentially from the get-go did it with this one, is I just put it on easy mode. Like I just kind of wanted to see the story, and I just don't care about the difficulty anymore. And I don't know. It's like it's a nice freedom, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I don't need the difficulty.
Yeah, no,
So
I stuck it. I kept it on normal throughout. The only games I've ever really done that with was Persona, because with Persona, I want to see as much as I can.
Yeah.
And that's a very time constrained game.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
it tries to make you choose between stuff, and I really don't want to, because if I choose between doing the fun stuff or the dungeon, I'm going to choose the fun stuff, but then you can't get through the dungeon. So
Yeah,
I was like,
exactly.
I'm going to do that on easy because that is the way I will most enjoy that game.
Yeah, for sure.
This there were some battles I struggled with, but it was weird ones. It weren't like the boss battles. It would be like some random room where they have one huge guy who can just take you out with a swing, but there's also like 20 other enemies around
Yeah.
him that you have to focus on as well. And it just more, they threw far too many people in the room, I felt like.
Really quick though, that enemy, I think I know which one you're talking about. Very weird when you have almost everything being mostly realistic, and then you have like a 8 foot, even probably 10 foot giant just like swinging a tree trunk. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. No, that is exactly the enemy. I came across those like twice.
Yeah.
I don't know if I just didn't figure out a good strategy, but the issue was with the fighting styles and everything. There weren't a good enough way to dodge them.
Yeah.
As well as everyone else and attacking and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah.
I also wasn't a fan of a lot of the fighting styles.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I said in the last time, just started blasting most of the time, or swinging and dancing or whatever, and then the upgrade system confused me at first because I'm like, why are these different color orbs? Can you just give me the same color? Like, what is this? I feel like I'm just an old man complaining.
Yeah, no, I seriously think the fighting system in the Yakuza games got worse at Yakuza 0. The moment you could switch between, it kind of broke the game. Because you could do that big one where you were the bear, and just like if you leveled that up enough, it didn't matter if people hit you. Your health bar was so huge, and your attacks were so strong, you could just mash through any battle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because they couldn't. As I said, they cut corners in places. Believe it or not, RGG Studio. They couldn't optimize every fight for every fighting style.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I just preferred it when he had his one style. I would have preferred this game if they had picked one style and stuck with it, because like the whole brawler fighting style, I used it for that one fight you had to use it for, where you go out drinking, because otherwise it's just pointless.
Yeah, I never used it.
But because I hadn't used it up to that point, I was severely under-leveled for that fight.
Yeah.
And I still did it, but it just took forever because my punches were doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I stick to one style, and then like the original games, you can pick up stuff to throw, or you have like a gun that depletes or whatever. Yeah, this whole crazy amounts of unnecessary variety, it just bogs things down more. So it just seems unfocused. I guess one thing would be interesting, because neither of us played the original because it was only in Japan. I'm curious what differences there are. I don't know if I've really looked that up, but I'm assuming everything we've talked about was also present in the original. I don't know. So yeah,
it's not like they, as far as I'm aware, the only big changes I believe they made was they threw some of the actors from Yakuza 7 into the game, which I was expecting. And I don't know if he's in a side thing or anything like that. I was expecting Ichiban to show up at some point.
He's one of the trooper card things.
I know that, but like, I mean, like in a like story or something.
Yeah, that would have been nice. But yeah, unfortunately not. So yeah, I don't know. Obviously, like it's a tough one, because I generally enjoyed it, but I certainly wasn't like overly enthusiastic about it. Story was okay. Yeah.
yeah, and before this came out, I would always see people be like, people who import games or can speak Japanese, saying like Kenzan or Ishin were like the best in the series, and now that I've played it, I'm like,
no,
really? Or were you just a little excited that you were playing a game others weren't?
Yeah, I think a little bit of the latter.
This was yet again, didn't dislike it, but it's certainly on the lower end of the scale for me.
For sure, which I feel like should be expected, because it is a weird niche spin-off. It really shouldn't almost be even considered a Like a Dragon game, but obviously it is, because of the goofy character swapping, and like just it's the same studio. So I don't know. It's not like I'm not surprised by this. I mean, it's cool that we finally can play it. Like I guess what I want to be clear about is I don't want this to be a deterrent for more games to finally like come over and be translated. I think that's awesome that that's happening, and I'm like all for it. But to your point a second ago, it's more from like a preservation standpoint and just getting people to experience stuff more. Like I wasn't expecting this to be the greatest thing ever, but I'm glad I could finally play it.
Yeah, I'm glad I played it. As a fan of the series. If someone's never played a Yakuza or like a Dragon game before, this isn't the one I'm going to suggest.
Sure.
Even if people are playing through the series, I'd be like, you know what, play the mainline games, and if you really love them, go back to this one. But otherwise, for the most part, you're not losing anything, missing out on it,
Yeah, so exactly. So, yeah, check it out. Or was there any other final stuff you had?
Did you grow many turnips and carrots at your second home?
Not by choice. I think they were just there. I mean, well, because like I think at one point, you know how you could upgrade stuff with the virtue system, which you could do like running faster or reputation points. I think one of the ones I upgraded was like increased farming or something, but like I never actually did it myself, so I did go back, and then it was just
had
there.
To spend my points on something. I was
right.
I guess.
I'm like, all right, I'll get some more carrots and turnips. That sounds good. So yeah, like I literally almost completely ignored that too. Yeah. Just I feel like we didn't actually play the majority of the other stuff of the game.
I feel like Haruka
Haruka, yeah.
Haruka is gonna stay in debt on my save file, and
Oh yeah, I didn't
possibly
pay a
also hers.
single yen towards that house payment.
Yeah, but you know, like as we said, we enjoyed it. I think the thing that's kind of telling is that I now have that save file, and I could go back and do like 50, 60 side activities, and I
Hmm.
don't think I ever will.
Oh, I know for a fact I never will.
Yeah,
But then again, to be fair, I could say that about some of the Yakuza games in general now, where like even the next
yeah,
one that comes out, like if there's not something super compelling, like I don't know. I think this ties into the other conversation we've had with open world games, where though it seems like a great idea, but then in practice, it's just exhausting, and
yeah.
I just can't be bothered to do most of
We're also
it.
getting old. Death seems closer every
Yeah,
day.
look,
We
I
care
can only
about our
spend so much time now on these things. I got important things to do, like play other video games.
yeah. I got the Grim Reaper's slowly walking down the street towards your house.
Come
You
on,
got to choose your time wisely.
exactly, and that's our review.
Yeah.
Like a dragon Ishin.
If you're not close to death, um,
Yeah, please consider subscribing. Yeah, I mean, once again, in summary, check it out. Probably wait for it to go on sale if you really even want to play it. You're not missing out on a whole lot, but it is, once again, it's cool that they did it. Like, hopefully, this doesn't mean that they won't bring some of the other stuff. Like, I don't know. With Kenzen, I got to be honest, I have no real desire to play it. If they bring it over, I probably will. The Black Panther games do still interest me, but now we have the fan translations, which you could honestly just go play those.
mhm.
So,
But
you
wouldn't
know.
that be illegal?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do that, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
Clearly.
No, I mean
Um,
the Grim Reaper kind, the FBI.
that is true. That is true. Dead Souls would be fun to get like a modern port at least. Like that's at least different, but
Hmm.
who knows? We'll see.
Well,
Um,
thumbs
but yeah,
up.
yeah. Thumbs up. If you want more positive Yakuza news, make sure to subscribe here and let us know what you think. I mean, honestly, if anyone's watching this and you feel completely different, let us know. Maybe we're missing something, or you have a different perspective.
Yeah.
Would love to hear it because,
Death
yeah,
threats in the comments, please.
yes, exactly.
Keep them nice and organized together, please.
Yeah, one at a time, or you want to start a thread, maybe just put them all there
Yeah,
so we can read.
if anyone wants to send a death threat, and you're the first person, put that in the comment, and then anyone else who wants to put a death threat, add it to
Or
that comment in a thread. Otherwise, we just get death threats everywhere, and we won't be
yeah,
able to keep them.
exactly. Yeah, we got to keep them in line here, guys.
Yeah.
Come on. We got to be efficient. But yeah, let us know what you think. And thanks for listening to two old men ramble about a game most people probably won't play at this rate. Oh goodness! But until next time, we'll be back to our usual stuff we're chatting about. So stay tuned for that one. But thanks for joining, and see you later.
Bye.